All right, what's happening, y'all? Sorry I'm late, but we are here to now talk about the Washington Commanders 2024 Day 1 of voluntary OTAs. I want to emphasize voluntary because it's amazing that we had a 100% attendance rate today. We're going to talk about that. Dan Quinn even addressed it as well. We got to talk about the Bobby Wagner effect. Jaden Daniels was throwing dots in the rain. We're going to talk about how Jaden Daniels is already building chemistry with Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz. Jake Fromm got cut. Tressway has a new number. We got to talk about some interceptions that were thrown in practice. And of course, as many position groups as I can possibly talk about or show y'all clips from, I'm going to do that. So we have some Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne footage. We have some Austin Eckler footage, some Zach Ertz, and of course, Terry McLaurin footage as well. Ben Sinnott. We have a lot to look at and talk about. I'm super excited. Of course, shouts out to everybody. Mostly, like most of these clips are coming from like John Com and Scott Abraham, but shouts out to everybody for giving us these clips from practice today. So make sure you go follow all of those guys. And without further ado, before we dive into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content. Again, I'm keeping y'all updated on every little thing that the Commanders have going on. Every single practice, I got y'all. Trust me, we're going to have notes and clips, whatever I can upload for y'all every time that I get a chance to. And of course, I'm still working on film sessions for the entire rookie class and some notable undrafted free agents. And I have a whole lot of fun video idea and concepts like different depth chart predictions and things like that. So stay tuned for everything. It's about to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about this season. I hope y'all are too. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into everything that happened today in Day 1 of OTAs. Let's get it. Adam. All right, and first of all, we got our answer. Yes, they are bringing that explosive energy early in practices, even when the veterans pulled up. That was not a rookie minicamp thing only. That is now a Commanders thing. And Logan Paulson said that it was not invented here, though. He's been on other teams that have done it before, which I'm not surprised at all. I actually would have been more surprised if we were the first team to ever do that. But I love it, and if it works for other great teams, then please do it here. And also, they did it to another Atlanta Classic, so you know I'm absolutely loving whatever this new energy drill is, where everybody's running, the coaches all hype and everything like that, because last time it was Knuck If You Buck when they did it, and this time it was like a little John Crunk music type of thing. And I'm pretty sure most of the people on the team didn't even know that song that was playing, but you can't help but feel the energy that came from that song, though. Can't help that. Also, it was a rainy day throughout the day, especially like the first 30 minutes of practice from what I'm hearing and seeing. And I love the fact that Dan Quinn still had them practicing outdoors instead of in a practice bubble that the rookies practiced in one day last week during their rookie mini camps. Because, you know, coaches typically try to avoid practicing in the rain because of like a higher risk of injury. But I like the fact that Dan Quinn wants them ready and adaptive to any elements, especially rain, which can happen any given Sunday that you're going out there and playing a football game, especially for a guy like Jaden Daniels who has to throw the ball in rain. That's the biggest concern right there. Of course, like change of direction for any player on the field, but also throwing the ball wise. How does Jaden Daniels adapt to that? We'll talk about that a little bit later because he killed it in my opinion. I felt like he was going crazy in the rain. And hey man, even Josh Harris and Adam Peters were out there, rain and all, just right out there chilling, man. And that shows that they are truly excited because they don't have to be out there, period. Even on a perfect sunny day, 73-degree weather, Josh Harris and Adam Peters do not need to be out there, especially Josh Harris. And for it to also be the first practice of voluntary OTAs in May, and those guys were out there even while it was raining. I love it. That just shows that everybody is very excited and just can't wait to see these guys running around, man. Even the owner is like, man, I just want to go to first day of OTAs in the rain. That's how excited I am. I love that. Now moving on, we have an update for Tressway as well. He is now wearing the number 10 going into OTAs. And remember, Kazmir Allen is already wearing that number 10, so that's what makes it weird. I'm assuming somebody will more than likely end up changing numbers from that number 10 to something else. And I also thought that it was interesting that he went from number 5 to number 5 times 2. He said, if I can't have 5, I'm just going to multiply it by 2 and get a number that's divisible by 5. Also, shouts out to Scott Abraham for pointing this out, because Tressway was wearing number 10 during today's practices, but that is not his final decision on the new number he will wear this season. So let's go ahead and update y'all on that. That's the official report. He has not decided. Whatever he picks, I'm sure fans will buy that new Tressway jersey, and I agree. I may even go get me one from the whole way that situation went down. I may have to go get a Tressway jersey, whatever it ends up being. And he also finished it with saying, great to see him back out there today, and I completely agree. And now moving on again, Jake Fromm was released by the Washington Commanders today, and shouts out to Grant Paulson for pointing this out. Fromm is 25. He made 2 career starts, including one against Washington. Remember that game against the Giants where Ben McAdoo asked him to do 2 QB sneaks from the shadow of his own goal line. Yes, that's the Jake Fromm. And even though I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, I never expected him to make this 53-man roster with this new regime, man. He's just not good. But also, Rick Snyder brings up a great point as to why, even beyond the fact that he's just simply not good. Rick Snyder said Jake Fromm was never making the Commanders after a coaching switch. New coach wants his players. This roster will have the highest turnover since 1945 at 63% when the World War II ended and the players returned. That is, and when you really put it in that perspective, that is crazy how different this team is. This is not a typical thing, and I'm hoping that it's for the better. We needed to clean house. I'm excited. Now with Jake Fromm gone, you would assume that Jaden Daniels is your quarterback 1, Marcus Mariota is your quarterback 2, sadly. Jeff Driscoll is your quarterback 3, and Sam Hartman is your quarterback 4. I'm hoping Sam Hartman can become quarterback 2 for, if anything, at least maybe he has a higher ceiling than those guys, because yeah, Marcus Mariota and Jeff Driscoll are obviously better than him today, I would feel like, but we already know Marcus Mariota is bad and Jeff Driscoll's also not very good as well. So if Sam Hartman is still quarterback 4 by the time we get to the regular season, that just means that he's that bad. But if he ends up being quarterback 2, that at least means that he was better than Marcus Mariota, because they have no obligation to keep him on this roster at all. So if he ends up becoming quarterback 2 or even quarterback 3, that means he earned it. So that's what I'm rooting for, but who knows, man? I have absolutely no idea what's going on there. But at the end of the day, hopefully, doesn't matter who our backup quarterback is, hopefully Jaden Daniels can never have to step off the field. And also, before we move on from Jake Fromm, do not forget that he did have a pretty exciting preseason showcase last season for us. And remember, he was the one that ended that Ravens 24-game preseason win streak. And that was pretty fun to watch, I'm not gonna lie. So shouts out to Jake Fromm. Even as a Georgia Bulldog, it just wasn't meant to be, man. It just wasn't. I hope Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint makes the team, but Jake Fromm, even when leaving Georgia, I didn't think he would end up being a good quarterback. And also moving on, shouts out to Scott Abraham for this view of, also even look at him compared to Marcus Mariota before he goes before him in this next drill. Because look at the difference in accuracy and also velocity as well. Like Jaden's first throw catches you a little off guard, following immediately after Marcus Mariota's last throw. And even after Jaden finished up, the quarterback that went after him missed the throw as well. So there's just a clear difference between Jaden Daniels and everybody else in our practices so far. I'm not going to sit here and act like Jaden Daniels is already clearly head and shoulders better than the other quarterbacks on this roster, but early on in practices, he definitely looks like it. Just off of the velocity, the mechanics, the footwork, the act, it's just crazy, man. And then, mind you, this is also while it's raining. So that's pretty crazy, man. That's typically a big weakness to a lot of quarterbacks, no matter how seasoned and nuanced. And it's not necessarily safe to assume that Jaden Daniels will be unaffected by rain or bad weather already, but at least we're seeing signs of hope very early in the process. So, but at the same time, rain or no rain, these are dots regardless, man. This is absolutely ridiculous how he's making these throws right here. I'm very happy and optimistic about what he's going to become. Already liked him a lot coming out of the draft, but what I'm seeing so far, of course, we can't take too much from these practices yet, but I'm loving what I'm seeing on his end so far. And I also want to point out, just to let y'all know, that this is far more difficult than it may look like when you're watching it. I'm very sure I can't do that, and I'm very confident that most of y'all, if not all of y'all, can't do that either. And I'm also seeing people say that he continued to be very accurate when they moved to 7-on-7 drills while it was raining. The rain picked up again, and I heard that his passes had a lot of velocity on them even in the rain. And remember one of those rookie minicamp practices when they went to 7-on-7s, Jaden Daniels completed every pass at a certain point. So, hey, man, this guy's a little bit different so far. And I also like how Cliff Kingsbury has been having them work on the most specific and random nuanced parts of playing the quarterback position so far in every practice. Like the rookie minicamp looked more like a footwork, going through your progressions, screen pass technique type of thing. And now on top of all of that, he had them adapting to like an edge rusher coming right at them, pretty much like an unblocked situation off of the edge, and then basically showing them, or trying to teach them and coach them up on how to adjust throwing the ball at a different angle to get it over the edge rusher, but not go too far past the running back to where it's a potential interception. You got to like basically rainbow it into a bucket to the running back. And I like the fact that they're being that detailed with every little thing that they have going on right now. I love it. I appreciate Cliff Kingsbury for that one, and Jaden Daniels looked pretty good doing it. Now moving on to linebackers, and here's our very first look at the quarterback of our defense, Bobby Wagner, practicing in a Commander's uniform. Do we have a London Fletcher 2.0 situation on our hands? And when you really think about the parallels, it runs pretty deep. It's pretty crazy, because think about 2012. We came in last place in the NFC East division the season before, just like we did in 2023. Also, even though I strongly disagree with the RG3 comp for Jaden Daniels, but I guess you can say a quarterback that can run fast and is black. I guess those are the only real similarities. That's it in my opinion, but there's that parallel. And most importantly, even though London Fletcher was already on the Redskins years before that 2012 season, bringing in Bobby Wagner brings a lot of that London Fletcher greatness and leadership that was huge in that 2012 division winning run that we had with RG3. Without London Fletcher, even as exciting as RG3 was, without London Fletcher, I don't think we win that division and end up going to the playoffs to end up losing against the Seattle Seahawks once RG3 got hurt. But either way, I think London Fletcher was a huge part of what went down there. The leadership alone, let alone what he was doing as a linebacker, was just incredible. And to hype up Bobby Wagner even more, Samuel Cosmi, our starting right guard, had a great line about Bobby Wagner from today in practice. Remember, Samuel Cosmi was arguably our best player on the entire team last year. And listen to Samuel Cosmi talk about Bobby Wagner and how he called him out today. I mean, the leadership is insane. Remember, this is the first day of voluntary workouts. It's still mid-May when this happened. Check out this clip.
Today, for example, I'm in my three-point stance and I'm pulling, and Bobby Wagner goes, "Hey, watch, he's pulling." I'm like, "What the heck?" Like, how did the heck? I was trying to disguise that, and I went up to him, "Hey, what'd you see?" "You were leaning." Stuff like that. It's great. So little things like that. So yeah, that's things that I'm noticing and enjoying.
Sam, I've heard you say open communication with the players and the coaches a couple of times now. Was that missing previously, and what kind of a difference does that make?
Yeah, I mean, that was missing a little bit, I would be honest with you. When it comes to this game, you always hear it's about the details. It's about the inches. It comes down to inches. So how do you do that? If you're able to communicate across the ball or across with your coaches and being like, "Hey, I'm on the field, I'm experiencing this," you're visualizing it. How can we communicate to be like, "Hey, how can I put myself in the best position to win a block or to make that catch or to hit that hole right, or make that tackle?" So like all those things, being able to communicate across the board is just huge.
That is a perfect example of how a true veteran makes everybody better. Bringing in a veteran and a future Hall of Fame linebacker, even past his prime, is making your right guard better even. That's crazy. It's impossible to put a price on the value that Bobby Wagner is bringing to this team, man. It's impossible. You can't put a number to it. And then also moving on wide receiver wise, I know Terry McLaurin is excited. I already gave y'all some crazy advanced stats that prove that he's easily at least a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL and literally ranked first and second in very important advanced wide receiver stats back in my Rico report that I did a couple of days ago. And the main point of the stats was that the quarterback play has been so inconsistent to say it as nice as possible. So I know he's excited about Jaden Daniels' potential more than probably anybody else. It's going to rewrite his entire career trajectory, the way that people talk about him. So you just saw clips of Jaden Daniels already throwing to Terry McLaurin, them working on that chemistry. Let's get on it early. But I also like how much I saw Luke McCaffrey being around Terry McLaurin to soak up as much valuable knowledge as possible, as much nuance as possible. Remember, Luke has only been playing the wide receiver position for 2 years now out of his entire life, y'all. That's it. He was a quarterback until literally just 2 years ago. So he has a lot left to learn, nuance-wise, route running, all of the mechanical technique things and how to, give signals body language wise to your quarterback to let them know you're open and you're about to break on your route. It's a lot of nuanced things that go down with the wide receiver position. It's not just about being fast, quick, and being able to catch. It's way more than that. And so also compared to Terry, thinking about Luke McCaffrey only playing receiver for 2 years, and Terry McLaurin is not only a seasoned veteran and at least a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL, but Terry is also a guy that has been a wide receiver, I think, his entire life, at least since high school, and most importantly, somebody that had to work hard to get to where he is. Remember, Urban Meyer told him he needed to catch 1,000 passes a day before Ohio State even considered offering him a scholarship, and then eventually he did that. He put in the work, and then he improved his hands through that process, and then he ended up going to Ohio State, and the rest is history. So if Terry McLaurin can give Luke any piece of that work ethic right there, it's going to be scary out there for people trying to deal with a Luke McCaffrey who has such a ridiculous ceiling. And also sticking with the receivers, Jahan Dotson is clearly excited about Jaden Daniels being his quarterback, man. He said he was really happy when the Commanders drafted Jaden Daniels, and he said that he's been impressed with what he's seen from Jaden Daniels so far in practice. But then he also went on to say, quote, "Not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but that's the quarterback I wanted," unquote. That's very high praise. And the fact that he wasn't even sure if he was allowed to say that and still was like, nah, man, F it, man. I gotta say it. That's my boy. I wanted us to draft him. I'm super happy that we got him. I love it. And then Jahan Dotson also said, as far as Cliff Kingsbury goes, that, quote, "He really plays to our strengths and tries to make it easy on us," unquote. And that the offense is simplistic for now as they learn the basics. And there's a sense of urgency, though, and the coaching staff have been very good teachers. I'm very excited about that. And now moving on to tight end, I'm excited to see if Zach Ertz can, one, first of all, stay healthy and be able to play more than just 4 games in a season. 2, get back to his Cardinal self that he was with our offensive coordinator right now, his head coach back then, Cliff Kingsbury. We don't even need to go back to his best days of when he was with the Eagles. Can we just get Cardinals version of Zach Ertz? That would be huge for Jaden Daniels to potentially have a great rookie season. And then lastly, 3, I can't wait to see how much Zach Ertz mentors the younger guys, most notably second-round pick Ben Sinnott. Of course, I'm still rooting for Armani Rogers' ceiling as well, but Ben Sinnott, Zach Ertz, please take him under your wings, man. And then in his press conference after practice, he even said, when talking about early workouts, quote, "I've loved every minute of it. Honestly, I feel like I got a fresh, renewed sense of life being out here. It's been a lot of fun," unquote. I love to hear that. And then he's already building chemistry with Jaden Daniels, and I'm very excited about him being a very dependable safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. And he even said in his presser that he could tell that Jaden Daniels is an extremely talented player, and in the fact that he also really cares. And that Jaden Daniels is doing a lot behind the scenes to make sure that he's ready, even outside of actual practice hours and what the coaches are asking for him. Jaden Daniels is going above and beyond that to make sure he improves every day and is ready for whatever anybody asks him to do. And I'm also happy that we have a clip of Jaden throwing to Ben Sinnott, because even as excited as I am for Zach Ertz this season, I hope that the Jaden Daniels to Ben Sinnott connection, it should be like a dominant and uncoverable connection for the next 10 years plus. Hopefully. I really do. So I love to see the fact that they're working on that chemistry right now already. And then moving on to the running back, seeing Austin Eckler in a Commander's uniform is nice as well. And I think he's going to be that one free agency signing that outperforms the Commanders fan base hype for him. Because from my point of view, Commanders fans either don't really talk about him much at all, or when they do talk about him, they don't have much faith that he's actually going to go out there and be good for us. So I feel like he's going to be one of our biggest pleasant surprises when we get into the season. But most importantly, more than anything else, don't fumble, which he does have a problem with. So make sure you do not go out there fumbling, Austin Eckler. And also, most importantly, really, if anything, protect Jaden Daniels. That's priority number one, in my opinion. The touchdown magic and receiving ability as a running back is really extra compared to those other two things. No fumbling and protect Jaden Daniels for me, please and thank you. And then offensive line-wise, Mitch Tisler pointed out that Brandon Coleman was getting reps at right tackle in practice, which is pretty weird because I don't believe he's ever played right tackle at any point in his college career. Mostly left tackle and then a little bit of guard, but that's it. But maybe they're trying to prepare him for like if he has to step in at either left tackle or right tackle due to injury. But I'm pretty confident that their goal is to develop him into a pure starting franchise left tackle specifically. But maybe since he's not ready yet, and maybe they're not sure if he'll be ready by week 1 to start at left tackle, maybe they're trying to season him up as like a backup swing tackle just in case if there's a scenario where he may have to step in at right tackle before he even has a chance to take an NFL snap at left tackle due to injury. So I guess they're just trying to prepare him for anything that may go down. And if he's never played any right tackle in college, we better give him some practice reps of it in practice before he goes out there and potentially has to play right tackle and looks crazy out there because he's never done it before. It's a whole different way you kick step. It's literally you got to mirror everything that you've already learned. Like literally take everything you've learned from playing left tackle for forever and then try to do the exact opposite and flip everything. I know that has to feel so crazy, even just from the arm that you punch with, even from the leg that you kick step with. I know that has to be insane trying to learn that. So I'm happy that they are working on that very early, just in case. We hope that we never have to get to that situation. If Brandon Coleman's on the field, I want him starting at left tackle, and that's it for the rest of his career. But I like the fact that the Commanders are doing whatever they can to make sure he's prepared no matter what. And also, don't forget that we signed a really good veteran center in Tyler Biadasz from the Cowboys, and he's going to help make Jaden Daniels' transition to the NFL a much smoother process, man. That's why we went to go get the veteran center rather than wait until the draft to maybe get like a really good rookie one. Tyler will be huge for the success of this offense with a rookie quarterback under center, man. I'm telling you right now, people are really sleep on how much of an impact Tyler Biadasz and how much of an upgrade he'll be from what we had in 2023. I'm super excited. And we also have some Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen footage out there putting in some work. And I'm so excited about how great they'll be with a guy like Johnny Newton allowing them to finally take breaks in a game so that they can stay energized, explosive, and most importantly, healthy by not having to play as much as they did last year. They were on the field way too much last year. And when Johnny Newton is finally healthy, that's going to be a huge help to those veterans as well. They're going to help him. He's going to help them right back. That's mutualism. And now for the most fun part of what we're going to talk about today, the real practice notes from like the actual fun part of practice where there's actually some competition going on. And shouts out to Zach Selby for these notes directly from the Washington Commanders website itself. He said, first of all, no one could crown Daniels for getting 12 consecutive completions during his first practice. No one should crown Jaden Daniels for getting those 12 consecutive completions. And they shouldn't freak out about his first interception as well. His first pass of 7-on-7 drills was slightly overthrown and picked off by James Pierre, causing a celebration on the defensive sideline. Daniels shrugged off the mistake and then delivered 3 darts to his targets, 1 to Davion Davis and 2 to Bryson Tremaine. It's interesting that he's not out there throwing to guys like Terry McLaurin and these 7-on-7s. But either way, what I take from that is that, yeah, he went out there with his first throw of 7-on-7s, threw an interception. But immediately after that, short memory and got to work, got busy and started dicing them up immediately after that. I'm pretty sure the celebrations on the defensive sideline eventually became mute and quiet once Jaden Daniels locked in. And I like that. He was able to, again, like I've been saying for years now, when it comes to these training camp practices, OTAs and things like that, I want to see how you react off of adversity. Yeah, it's great. Just like in one of the rookie mini camp practices where he completed every single pass. That's great and all. But I want to see how you react when things aren't going well. When you finally do throw an interception quarterback wise. But I'm talking to every position group, honestly. But specifically Jaden Daniels at the quarterback position. What do you do after you have a bad play, after you throw an interception? How do you respond to that? How do you adapt? And that's some of the best news I can hear. The fact that he threw an interception and he came right back and diced them up and was just completely uncoverable. Oh, wow. Look, I just got a notification that the Commanders are trying out Martavis Bryant right now. Okay. If y'all remember, man, back when he was great, he looked like a top 20 receiver in the NFL, maybe even better than that. And that would also add some size to our receiver room. So that's really interesting. I may go ahead and do a whole dive and deep separate video on that alone later on. But moving on with the practice notes, that just completely caught me off guard though. Zach Selby continues on to say, the 7-on-7 period was split into two sections. Daniels and fellow rookie Sam Hartman were on one end with Marcus Mariota and Jeff Driscoll on the other. So they had the younger guys, the rookies on one side, the veterans on the other side, working at the same time. And instead of just watching each other go through things like one at a time. And I appreciate that. That's why it's better to be outside than in the bubble, because we don't have as much space in the bubble inside. Mariota has been praised by the coaches for his veteran experience, and it came through several times in practice. One of the best examples was the pass to Jahan Dotson ripping the ball between two defenders, which lets me know that Marcus Mariota was out there with the better receivers and Jaden Daniels was out there with the backups. I mean, Marcus Mariota throwing to Jahan Dotson, and you have Jaden Daniels out here throwing to Bryson Tremaine and Davion Davis. So I did just want to point that out. Also, Pierre wasn't the only defensive back who got in on the fun, because Anthony Pittman picked off a pass from Marcus Mariota later in the day. Noah Igbenogany nearly repeated the feat a few plays later, and then Jeremy Chin snagged a pass from Mariota near the end of the day. So it sounds like Mariota had two interceptions that were intercepted, and then another one that should have been intercepted by Noah Igbenogany. And I like the fact that Jeremy Chin is making plays. Y'all don't understand. That's one of the free agency signings that I'm the most excited about. Y'all know I love my freak athletes with the elite ceilings, so I love to hear that. But Marcus Mariota, no, not good. Not good. Jaden Daniels throwing an interception locked in for the remainder of the practice. How come you're throwing interceptions and then you keep throwing more? That is scary. So please, Jaden Daniels, do not ever let Marcus Mariota hit the field in the regular season or postseason. Preseason, cool. Practice, cool. Throw all you want. But that 0 on your jersey, Marcus Mariota, better stand for how many throws I ever see you throw in a regular season game in a burgundy and gold uniform. And then continuing on with the Zach Selby article, aside from Daniels, wide receiver Luke McCaffrey has been one of the most interesting players to watch in practice. I love that. His route running, hands, and quickness have all been on display, and he had the catch of the day on a deep shot from Jeff Driscoll, who slung the ball near the end zone for the rookie to slide underneath for the catch. So shouts out to Luke McCaffrey. Now, from what I'm hearing and seeing and everything like that, even though it was the catch of the day, it wasn't as great as my Georgia dog, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint's catch of the day from the first day of rookie minicamps, but it was still a great catch. And Luke McCaffrey, I'm super excited because, again, if he ever reaches his ceiling of what I feel like is a more athletic, quicker, faster Puka Nacua, he could be really dangerous. As much as I love Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, on his best day, he will not be as good as Luke McCaffrey will eventually be on his best day. But I just had to point that out. You know, Luke McCaffrey had the catch of the day, but he ain't had a catch of the summer yet. You know what I'm saying? So stop sleeping on my boy Marcus Rosemy. But again, shouts out to Luke McCaffrey, because the sooner he develops, the more explosive and uncoverable our offense is. That's going to make things easier for everybody on the field. Terry McLaurin can't be double teamed because you got to worry about Luke McCaffrey, who again is the next Puka Nacua potentially. I'm not expecting him to go out there and have Puka Nacua stats, but I'm expecting him to be a very similar player, but if anything, only quicker and faster. So I'm really excited about that. Now moving on, let's talk about Dan Quinn. Even though this quote didn't come from Dan Quinn, Jahan Dotson is talking about Quinn and the energy of this team. He said, quote, "It has been a completely different energy from the second we walked into the first team meeting. Coach Quinn really emphasized that we're really a team. It's been really good energy, really good vibes around the building. It is really exciting times," unquote. And again, Dan Quinn is leading that. Remember, Jahan Dotson said a couple of months ago that it feels like he got traded from how different this team feels right now. So I'm loving the fact that he's loving what's going on right now. I'm pretty sure everybody has the similar unanimous feeling. And then also my dog Disco brings up a great point when he said on Twitter, quote, "Just like the new girlfriend, pretty, smells good, and dresses well. The question is, does she stay that way when the sink is full of dishes, the cable bill and car notes are due, with this being a metaphor for actual football games?" And personally, I wouldn't have worded it like that, but the logic remains perfectly sound. Everything is all great right now with no losses on the record right now, no L's. But I'm curious, how will they react when they face adversity? I'm expecting them to handle it very well with all of these seasoned players and veteran coaches that we have all up and down this entire franchise right now. But I still want to see it. But in an ideal world, hopefully there will never be adversity and we just go undefeated and we never find out. But again, just like the whole situation with Jaden Daniels specifically, I want to know how you bounce back from an interception, and really this entire team. I want to know how y'all bounce back from a loss, especially a really bad one. Do y'all come back with the same optimism and fight and energy that you had before that loss? That's going to be very pivotal. Again, I expect them to, with all of the veterans that we have all around, not only the players, but the coaching staff as well. But I got to see it. And then also going back to how new everything is and how excited this team is, Frankie Louvu talked about how every single healthy player was out there at day one of voluntary OTAs in this post-press conference after practice. So not one person pulling a Chase Young and working out somewhere else by themselves or with other players from different teams for whatever reason. And I told y'all this will happen. For several reasons. I told y'all days ago, it just made too much sense for everybody to be there. But I only want to focus on the fact that everybody is there because they're buying on the team's vision right now. And Dan Quinn also said something about it as well. There's several reasons why everybody's there. I mean, first of all, we have a lot of adjustments to do. Everybody's new here. Even if the players aren't new, the coaches are new. But most importantly, everybody's buying in on the vision and they want to be here. They want to be around their teammates right now and build that chemistry as soon as possible. I love it. But again, Dan Quinn spoke about it as well in this clip.
Dan, these OTAs are voluntary for the veterans, but basically everybody's here. What does that show you about the buy-in and the commitment already from the vets?
Yeah, I think it shows how important it is. They know they're starting, a new program together, new offense, new defense, new special teams, and so no one wants to be behind, and have anything that would, leave them any space as we're competing going forward. So I'm not surprised knowing this group as I do, their connection, their chemistry together. That's a big part.
And speaking of buying into the vision and energy of this team, Zach Ertz said in his post-practice presser that, quote, it's not just one coach bringing juice. Everybody has it, unquote. I love to hear that. So it's Dan Quinn led, but it's not Dan Quinn carried. Everybody has energy. The players, the coaches, everybody. I'm loving what I'm hearing right now. This is different from any other season, probably in my lifetime of being a burgundy and gold fan. Because again, I wasn't born yet to see any of our Super Bowls. All I know is Dan Snyder. So I'm really excited about the things that I'm hearing right now. And also, even though it's fairly obvious right now, I'm happy that Dan Quinn acknowledged this out loud when he said it in his press conference. He said OTAs are by nature more of a passing camp, which makes sense because Dan Quinn wants to maximize reps during these sessions and especially to get your number 2 overall pick quarterback as many reps as possible before we get into the regular season. And that's exactly what they are, man. They literally are by nature more of a passing camp because there's no real contact. We're not wearing shoulder pads and hitting people and things like that. So let's not even force too much running the ball plays before training camp. And also as fans on our side of things, that's the coach's side, but on the fan side of things, let's not read too much into DBs getting ate up by receivers and quarterbacks. It's literally the way that OTAs are designed with no pads, no real contact, is literally set up for DBs to fail. Also, offensive linemen getting beat in pass coverage, that's pretty difficult. Also, the running backs running for 80-yard touchdown through huge holes because the defensive line are just kind of going through the motions right now. Do not buy too much into anything that we really take away from these practices until we at least get the training camp where it's real contact, pads, fully padded helmets and everything like that. So just wanted to give y'all that heads up right there. And then lastly, Dan Quinn wise, he also addressed the t-shirt situation with the W with the feather when he said, quote, I think one of the parts of me taking this job, I was excited to bridge the past and the present. Love that. What a cool privilege it is to do. I also recognize there's a lot of layers to that. So it was a great lesson for me. What I really hate is that any attention that would have been taken away from these rookies and this awesome crew, nobody wants to do that, unquote. So again, he had good intentions. He wanted to show everybody that shirt and basically show all of the, the burgundy and gold fan base that like I'm here to give y'all the new. We're about to start winning, but I also want to acknowledge and honor the past of when y'all were great. But then he's also saying that he didn't like the actual result of it, the actual consequences, where it seemed to be people talking more so about the W than the actual practices and the players and the coaching staff and what they're doing right now in these practices. So I completely agree. That's why I acknowledged it in the video, but I didn't want to do an entire video talking about it for like 20 minutes because I don't really think it's that serious. I acknowledged it for like a quick 5 to 7, maybe, even if that may have been less than, I don't even remember. But just like Dan Quinn's point, that's not the most important thing going on right now. And I'm happy that he agrees. And also, I liked a few things that Cliff Kingsbury said in his press after practice as well. Like when he talked about installing a new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury said he focused on making this year 1 of the Commanders and not year 5 of the Cardinals. I love that quote right there. I absolutely love that. And then Kingsbury also said that he's had to properly manage how much he goes at Jayden Daniels as far as working in new stuff over time. He said, quote, his football IQ is really high. He's really well versed in protections and everything, unquote, which basically tells me that's a great problem to have. And basically, Cliff Kingsbury is saying that Jayden is absorbing and processing everything so quickly that Cliff Kingsbury has to worry about not getting too ahead of himself and putting too much on Jayden Daniels too quickly. Because no matter how smart and adaptive Jayden Daniels is, he's still a rookie at the end of the day. But that's a great thing to hear, that Jayden Daniels is out there just soaking up the information and then not only like processing it, but actually going out there and showing through his play in practice and his throws and his decision making and footwork, technique, nuance, and things like that. He's showing that he's processing everything as quickly as possible. And Logan Paulson even brought up a point, I believe it was on his podcast. I remember him saying it somewhere that like there was even a certain point in time, like during the rookie mini camps, when he went like 100% from the field in completions. Like that's not just an accuracy thing. That's also knowing the playbook. Like that, you have to know the playbook to be able to do something like that. For him to know exactly which routes the receivers are running against DBs, certain route concepts, route combinations, and things like that, that just shows that Jayden Daniels was not playing as soon as he got drafted about getting into that playbook. Remember, I told y'all a few videos ago that Jayden Daniels literally on the private jet going from Detroit, I believe the draft was, going back home to Cali with, he had his family, his friends on the private jet with him, and he was literally standing up and basically simulating making calls at the line of scrimmage, like changing protections and things like that around his family and friends that are celebrating the fact that he just went 2nd overall. On the way back home to celebrate even more, he's already doing that. He's been diving into the playbook. And like Zach Ertz said earlier, you can tell that Jayden Daniels is going the extra mile even outside of the allotted practice time to do whatever it takes to make sure he's up on everything and prepared for whatever they ask him to do. He's going above and beyond and going beyond the normal allotted practice time or film session time or team meeting time. He's doing stuff even on his own at home, more than likely, doing whatever it takes to try to learn as much of the playbook as possible, trying to stay ahead of Cliff Kingsbury. By the time Cliff Kingsbury asked him to go further into the playbook, Jayden Daniels is like, I'm already past that. Let's go. Now, let me show you what I already know and things like that. I'm loving what I'm hearing about not only Jayden Daniels' talent, accuracy, velocity on the ball, footwork, and things like that, but also how like motivationally driven he is, his work ethic, and just all of the IQ and mental stuff that he's showing right now as a quarterback, on top of the leadership as well. So I think he's killing it. I mean, right now he's having a best case scenario offseason, to be completely honest, but we'll see if he can keep it up. And I also liked how Cliff Kingsbury talked about building the offense for Jayden Daniels when he said, quote, you have a lot of good stuff that you've collected over the years. You got to make sure it's simple enough that guys can have confidence and build and grow together. And so that's why you don't throw too much at a guy in one time. You want it to be simple enough to where they can go out there and find success in what they're doing to build that confidence, so that when you throw more stuff on them, they just have like a momentum boost of like, okay, I got this. I could do that. I could definitely do this. So I like the fact that Cliff Kingsbury is using that coaching style. I remember Cliff Kingsbury even acknowledging the fact that he should have done a better job of teaching Kyler Murray in a way and coaching Kyler Murray in a way that suited Kyler Murray. He tried to do like a this is how I coach and you're going to take it or leave it type of approach. It sounds like he's not doing that with Jayden Daniels. He learned his lesson from his time with the Cardinals as a head coach dealing with Kyler Murray, and now he's basically doing like, okay, how does Jayden Daniels want me to coach him? That's the way I'm gonna coach him. I'm not gonna just approach him with the same typical way that I typically have been coaching my entire life. I appreciate that, Cliff Kingsbury. And also Cliff said that he's really excited about the duo of Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, and that they will complement each other very well. And I definitely agree, because B-Rob definitely has yet to play with a vet as seasoned as Austin Ekeler, even though I feel like Antonio Gibson is still extremely talented and has a crazy high ceiling. As long as he can fix the fumbles, I think he's going to ball out for the Patriots. But again, Brian Robinson has not played with a veteran as seasoned as Austin Ekeler that has seen it all. And also, Austin Ekeler on his end has yet to play with a straight dog like B-Rob. But everything he's been through and his running style, running people over in between the tackles, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield and make big plays in the passing game. I think they are both very excited about working together in this offense. And also, we have an injury update for our second round pick as well. Apparently, Commanders rookie defensive tackle Johnny Newton successfully underwent surgery on his second Jones fracture in his other foot today. And Washington is confident that Newton will be ready for the regular season. Again, like I talked about a couple of days ago, the surgery that he got for the injury that he had typically takes you like 2 to 3 months to recover from. So I actually expect him to be back before preseason. But then again, don't rush it. If he's not ready before preseason, don't throw him out there at preseason. And I've already said it several times in my breakdown of Johnny Newton and talking about his injury in previous practice reports from rookie minicamp, that if there's one position, if there's one player out of this entire rookie class that can miss the entire training camp and I can still expect him to go out there week 1 of the regular season and ball out, it is Johnny Newton, an interior defensive lineman. So I'm not worried about how good he'll be this season at all. I'm actually very excited about what he's going to show us. And then lastly, just to let you know, the last regime's development tackle experiment in Braden Daniels was at practice today, so I wanted to make sure y'all knew that. He wasn't at rookie minicamp, and again, Dan Quinn addressed that and said that there was a technicality to where even though he was on IR his entire rookie season, he was not allowed to participate in rookie minicamp like a lot of the other guys that came out from 2023, like Bryson Tremaine and those guys, and Kazmir Allen. They were allowed to. Braden Daniels, for whatever technicality it was not allowed to, but he is here today. Well, he was here today at OTAs, just to give y'all that update. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. I really appreciate y'all, man. Y'all know, y'all see me over here working. I'm having fun doing it, but the support that y'all are showing, getting in the comment sections, not leaving these videos without leaving likes, I love it, man. I've been so busy that I haven't been able to get a chance to read and reply to as many comments as I would like. So if there's any like question that you really want me to answer, or if there's anything you really wanted me to see you say or anything like that, definitely put that same comment in the next video, in this video that you put in a previous video. I do not mind it at all. If you feel like it's that important, definitely repeat it, because hopefully I get a chance to see it this time and I get a chance to reply and things like that. I really appreciate y'all. Of course, let me know how you feel about Jaden Daniels, even though he did throw an interception, how he was great outside of that. Marcus Mariota throwing multiple interceptions. How do you feel about that chemistry with Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz already building with Jaden Daniels? Cliff Kingsbury's comments, Jahan Dotson's comments, Dan Quinn, Bobby Wagner, his effect on the team already, Jake Fromm getting cut, all of that, 100% attendance, us practicing in the rain, and Jaden Daniels still throwing dots in the rain. All of that. Let me know how you feel about Tress Way's new number 10 right now, even though it's the same number as Kazmir Allen, who's competing for like a, depth receiver or maybe even a starting returner position for this team. So let me know how you feel about all of that and more. Whatever opinions you have, if you agree or disagree with any of my points. And I really appreciate y'all. Again, do not leave this video without leaving a like. I'm going to keep y'all updated with daily content no matter what's going on. So stay tuned. I'm going to catch y'all later. One-stop shop for everything Commanders. I'm out.